Hello everyone, I'm Isaac Feldberg from ASUG, the America's SAP User Group. I'm here at SAP Sapphire and ASUG Annual Conference. I'm pleased to be here today with Brent Schroeder from SUSE, Diego Akechi from SUSE, and Jan Kruger from Intel. Would all of you mind introducing yourselves and telling us a little bit about your roles at your respective companies?
Very good. Yeah, thank you, Isaac. My name is Brent Schroeder, and I head the Office of the CTO at SUSE and spend the vast majority of my time out talking with customers, both about what SUSE does for them, but more importantly, listening to what they need from us.
Hi, Isaac. So my name is Diego Akechi. I'm the Vice President for our SAP solutions at SUSE. So my teams have end-to-end responsibility of our SAP business from product management, product conception, down to product development and delivery to the customers. And I'm really pleased to be here today.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Isaac. So I'm the CTO in the team SAP at Intel. So I'm in the sales and marketing group, and we are responsible for managing the partnership with SAP and all its partners like SUSE, that I'm pleased to welcome here today as well. And in my role, I'm really looking at the technology aspects of the partnership with SAP and the partners to make sure that those technologies are enabled, are brought to market, and then customers from SAP and SAP themselves can make use of them.
Thank you, Jan. And I'm particularly excited to have all three of you here today to talk about the security framework that we're hearing a lot more about in the SAP space these days, called Zero Trust Infrastructure, also known as a Never Trust, Always Verify approach. Brent, would you mind starting us off by telling us a little bit more about this infrastructure and why SUSE feels that we should expand this to data in use?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Zero Trust is really critical for people to be deploying today and implementing. And the reason is that an old traditional model would be understand what bad is and try to prevent bad. And today that's impossible, right? It happens too fast, things are moving too quickly. And so the methodology is, like you said, never trust, always verify. And that means understanding what good looks like and learning that really from a behavioral approach. And some people take it as fairly narrow definition, either in a user identity or a network approach, but really it needs to be applied to all layers so that it can be protected from any type of attack. And that's really where some of the new technology that we're bringing forth comes into play. Being able to protect not just the application layer and even the infrastructure layer, but the data in use, all the way down to the systems itself, so that no matter what happens, what approach the bad actor tries to take, that there's a strategy to stop data from leaking out. So that's kind of the general thought and why it is so critical, because the environments are changing so rapidly and the threats are changing so rapidly today. So, Diego, you want to add to that?
Yeah, for sure. So when we think about the SAP space, right? So a lot of our customers, when they start adopting, SAP S/4HANA, for example, it's much more than only the software aspect, but they really embark in a digital transformation journey that involves, reviewing processes, adopting new technologies and platforms, like, for example, private cloud, public cloud, eventually hybrid cloud. While those technologies brings a lot of flexibility and new possibilities, it also exposes those systems to new kinds of attacks and new to the internet and new kinds of attack vectors, like Brent was mentioning. So data in rest, right, in the disk and encryption for network is something that is known and used in our market for very long. But this ability to really encrypt the data in use in the memory or in the CPU, for me was the real missing building block to allow customers to achieve this full zero trust in the infrastructure layer and being able to embrace the cloud with confidence. So that's, for me, is the real difference that we're bringing to the market here.
And Jan, can you speak to that from an Intel perspective as well, this topic?
Certainly, thank you, Isaac. So from Intel's point of view, we've been investing into security technologies for decades, right? I mean, as Diego mentioned in the past, technologies to encrypt communication channels or to encrypt data that you put on your disk was something which wasn't adopted widely. And then Intel brought technologies into the products through the ecosystem that accelerated those functionalities. So for us today, having a secure connection to our corporate infrastructure is a de facto standard. Nobody questions that. Nobody thinks about it. It comes naturally. The same is with encrypting data on your laptop. 20 years ago, there were news in the newspapers where people lost their laptop and everybody was scared about the data that had been on this laptop because they had not been encrypted. Nowadays, encrypted data is the de facto standard, whether this is on your PC, on your corporate PC, maybe even on your private PC if you are as paranoid as I am, being in the security industry for so long, and maybe even on your phone, right? And confidential computing and protection in use is the next evolution. It was kind of the last barrier that we had to overcome. And that's why Intel had been investing into this many years ago and started to bring this in our Xeon product families. And important for us is the partnership with the ecosystem and with instrumental partners like SUSE, because our technology is implemented on a CPU level, on a platform level, and we partner with operating system vendors like SUSE to make sure that those capabilities bring it to market flawlessly, and end customers can really easily make use of them to address the points you both made about being under pressure from attacks from the outside when you start to open up and you start to adopt new technologies as part of your SAP or generally data center transformation.
And let me add another point to that I didn't mention, and you reminded me of that, is I think what's different today and what I hear from a lot of customers is almost the fear, still some customers, particularly in regulated environments, of the fear of using the cloud, right? Hey, my data might be sitting on a system that another company is on. Do I really have control? Do I trust the administrators of the cloud provider in what they do? And you know, this confidential computing and zero trust really opens the door, you know, for more people that have been afraid or concerned with using cloud infrastructure, using shared infrastructure, even if it's in their own private cloud, to be able to take advantage of that. Exactly. Right, and it opens up, you know, better agility, more cost-effective use of resources, et cetera. That's been a challenge in the past for companies.
Absolutely. Thank you for mentioning that. And you know, all three of you are speaking to this, but in broadening out the conversation a little bit, I'd love to ask all of you about really the strength of the SUSE Intel partnership specifically. None of this is happening in a vacuum, and we all know that enterprises running SAP software in today's world need not just cutting edge technology, they need those cutting edge partnerships as well. Could you all speak a little bit to how Intel and SUSE are partnering together specifically on security in the cloud to address some of these concerns and challenges that you were just speaking to? And I'd like to hear from Diego on that first. I mean, what can you say about the strength of this partnership?
Yeah, absolutely, Isaac. Let me comment about this partnership, right? So when we think about SUSE and Intel partnership, it dates back for many decades, right? So I dare to say that the level of maturity that we see on the Linux market, you know, being adopted widely by enterprise today, is really thanks to the collaboration contributions from companies like Intel and SUSE, right? More specifically on the SAP market, for me, the best example is when, you know, SUSE, Intel, and SAP really work together to develop the SAP HANA database, right? So we all together work to bring to the market the in-memory database that today is the foundation of many SAP products, including the flagship ERP used by the largest customers in the world. And since then, we never stopped, right? Imagine that as soon as those customers starts to embrace this new technology, and they are very demanding customers, we need to keep with the pace of innovation and the growth of their operations. And what we are discussing here today, right? So the ability to encrypt data in memory, data in use, is really the next chapter of this partnership, because it's so tight integrated the hardware with the operating system, that if this partnership doesn't work very well, there's no chance that we would bring this such innovation to the market.
I think one of the things that's critical to understand is what our customers expect of us, right? Talking to IT leaders in all industries, whether it's healthcare or oil and gas in numerous vertical spaces, is they run their business on SUSE, Intel, and SAP, right? It's become an integral part of the live operation of the business, not just a back office function. And that means that it must be up and running in many cases, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And if it goes down, it's costing them millions of dollars. And down into the millions of dollars a minute is how critical some of these systems are. And we take a great deal of pride in the trust that customers put in us, in delivering systems that have that level of reliability and that level of security, that they can run their business on it and know that it's going to be up, that it's safe. And I think as we move into the next generation and expand that more and being able to run not just on-prem, but run in the cloud, protected in the cloud, run it in unprotected environments as we move to the edge computing and we've got systems out in the wild, the customers being able to trust that those systems are going to be there and that they're safe and protected is absolutely critical and something that we take a great deal of pride in.
Thank you for that, Brent. And Jan, can you speak to that as a little bit as well from the Intel side, what Brent is speaking to as well here with just the prime importance of reliability and consistency in this partnership and how that the strength of that partnership ensures that.
Certainly, Isaac. I would summarize what you both said with a great responsibility we have, right, in these two words. And we are honoring that responsibility, and we honor the trust the market and the customers and SAP is giving into this partnership as well, because as you both said, it started many years ago with the development of the HANA database, which revolutionized the ERP market until now. And we are knowing that this is a great responsibility we have as Intel to provide products in partnership with SUSE who enables them then for further use within the ERP software itself. It doesn't happen in isolation. It's a fully integrated vertical stack that needs to deliver on this trust. And that is grounded into resiliency, into security, and into primitives that are most important to SAP, which is performance and scalability. SAP HANA was always about the performance it provides in ERP usage so that enterprise customers can optimize their processes, can fasten their processes. And their resiliency is important because SAP is the backbone of most enterprises in the world. And if we break that backbone by not being, let's say, good enough in what we do and cautious enough in what we do, then we could harm the customers that set so much trust in this partnership of all three of us, it's going to say, including SAP as well. So I think this is what underlines the importance of the partnership between SUSE and Intel over the last couple of years. And we are not stopping here. We are now entering the next phases where we have confidential computing and zero trust as being an important new technology that we bring to market. And I hear the same what Brand said from customers, that especially in the adoption of cloud and hybrid cloud, that topic of zero trust is essential, is key actually to that decision. And technologies like confidential computing is being a part of the zero trust framework. It's not the only solution, it's not a silver bullet, right? But it's part of this overall zero trust solution, can help customers to build that trust, to build that confidence in moving into an open system, let's say, that is constructed out of components in the cloud and on premise, on the edge, and maybe remote areas where there's a higher security problem, apparently, right? So this is all underlying the partnership. And I think the AI part as well. Nowadays, everybody, we hear this in Orlando all the time about AI in these days. So I think that's another aspect that we could spend hours on talking about what SUSE and Intel doing on that front. But I think there's a lot of work ahead of us, and we are looking to this to help the market to adopt our new technologies together with the SUSE solutions offered into the marketplace, and make sure that SAP and SAP's customers remain happy with our solutions we provide, I would say.
So since I have all three of you here today, I really want to know a little bit more about confidential computing, which you've all been speaking to a little bit. And Jan, I'd like to start with you just in terms of understanding the core technologies that are underpinning confidential computing. What can you tell us in a little bit more detail about how this all works and comes together to create this new sort of innovation in computing?
Yeah, certainly. That's a good point, Isaac. So I don't want to go into all the bells and whistles here, but at least to give you some glimpse on how this works. So Intel has been inventing that technology many years ago, and it comes basically in two flavors. Mm-hmm. As we started with confidential computing, we thought we bring a technology to market that helps developers that actually write the software to put the software or parts of their software and data into, let's say, call it a safe, that they close the door, and then everything that happens in the safe is only known to the developers. So nobody outside can access the data, can see what's being processed, right? That was the first incarnation, let's say, of confidential computing for developers. A few years back then, we started to see the adoption of cloud, of more virtualization all over the place. So we started to implement a second type of technology that we call a trust domain extension technology, TDX in short, that is not targeted to the developers, that's targeted to operators, basically. So what that does, it allows operators of systems to put entire VMs or parts of a VM, meaning containers, into those safes, basically, so that each VM, each container stays in its own safe and it's isolated from each other, which talks to the point Brent mentioned earlier, that customers are concerned about kind of cross-contamination, as we call it. Mm-hmm. So that's eliminated with the TDX technology. And the magic lies actually within the way how we create those safes, in which either a developer or an operator put a VM or container. That safe is using a very strong cryptography. It's using even post-quantum resistant cryptography nowadays with our latest CPU generation, so that we are preparing for what's coming next, basically, where quantum computing eventually is going to give us a little bit headache on the security space, but we'll see when that comes, and we try to prepare as best as we can. And the TDX and SGX, which is Software Guard Extension for Developers technology, they are both using those cryptographic methods to stay resilient. And since Intel has been inventing this technology so many years ago, we went through an improvement cycle, right? Every technology starts with issues, right? Every software starts with bugs, basically, right? So our confidential technology, computing technology, has reached a maturity level that is unseen in the market because we've been investing into it for so long. And we found the problems, right? In security space, yes, if you have problems, that's not good, but that gives you an opportunity to improve. And over time, you get to a point where the technology has reached this high resiliency that it can be used across the board and has gained the trust in the market. And I think we are now at this edge where we are entering this phase where we see cloud vendors adopting the technologies like Azure or Google Cloud, where you can get this today. Right, so you can go there, consume those capabilities, and SUSE enabled the necessary software stack in between, so that developers or the operators, meaning the Azure cloud, can deploy VMs on those type of systems. So I think that's as far as I would go on the technology side of things. Well, we can go into all the cryptography in detail, but I think that would take much more time than we have today. So I jump over that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. I appreciate that answer and the scope that you just laid out. To speak to that a little bit from the SUSE side, Diego, I'm curious what you can tell me about the deeper integration between hardware and software that this comprises and how this works within the SUSE family.
Right, absolutely, Isaac. So I think Jan highlighted very well the capabilities of the hardware, right? Mm-hmm. And goes without saying that we need a deeper and tight integration between the software layer and the hardware here to succeed. The SUSE Linux family of products is that software layer, right? Mm-hmm. Basically, we deliver all the software needed, not only to deliver the security aspect of it, but the performance aspect, right? Because as much as we expect all this to be safe, we still need to perform and deliver on the business capabilities. And that's where this partnership goes, right? So the encryption happens on the hardware level, and we from SUSE guarantee that it goes up and deliver with the performance that applications such as SAP needs. On top of that, I want to comment about attestation, right? So the fact that we can protect those VMs or those applications, of course, is very good, but we can add even an extra layer of security here, that is the ability to validate externally that the workloads in execution are really trusted, right? And then SUSE Linux family of products also brings all the software components to make this happen. So you can use either our SUSE Multi-Linux Manager as an external entity for attestation, or even other external attestation. So the combination of both really brings the zero trust perspective to another level, because you don't even trust the workload inside the VMs. You can verify and certify that nothing was tampered there and everything is really effectively secure.
Thank you, Diego. And I appreciate all of these answers. I'm curious, in wrapping up this conversation, to talk about the security challenges that we've been addressing in this conversation, I'd like to hear from you about the really principal reasons that you feel SAP enterprises that are facing these challenges can't wait or can't delay to address them and to take these on. What, in your mind, are the biggest risks that enterprises are facing right now in this space, and what are the potential consequences of not acting? Brent, if you could speak to that.
To me, it's really simple. What's at risk is your customers' trust and your reputation with your customers. And it's impossible to put a value on that, right? If your customers do not trust that their data, their information is safe with you, then they're not going to do business. So that's the true why now and why this is important. Because you've got to establish that level of trust with your customers, and customers need that level of confidence. And particularly, as we've talked throughout this, is as you as a customer, as a business, want the flexibility and agility to deploy anywhere and adopt new use cases as they come along, to be able to meet your customers where they are, then you need that level of trust and that level of capability. And so it's absolutely paramount that customers be adopting a zero trust methodology. Without zero trust, in my mind, it's not a matter of if you will be compromised, it's just when. There will be a compromise. I mean, companies are being attacked every day, even small companies. You think you're under the radar. Trust me, the algorithms that are out there searching for vulnerable businesses and vulnerable sites don't care who you are, don't care the size you are, right? Whether you're the largest company and think you're safe, or a small startup and think you're under the radar, you're not. So everybody needs to be implementing today.
Thank you. And Jan, to close us out from the Intel perspective, what would you say as well about the challenges that you see in this space with this topic right now?
Yeah. Well, like Brand already said, I would underline that any security technology is an insurance for the future, right? It's not when, it's just how you are being attacked. It's going to happen at some point in time. So as with all insurances, you better have one. Right, and especially with critical workloads that you run, like SAP and others that are really business critical to you and your customers, you will need that additional security. And zero trust is, I think, the concept, let's say, and the tools that are associated to zero trust that help you to build a very strong insurance for the day you are under attack, to mitigate, not to mitigate it entirely, but to be as less affected by that attack as possible. And confidential computing in particular is a technology that plays a key role in this framework of zero trust, because it gives you that safe, to use that example from before, which you can use to put data or code or customer information, whatever it is, in, with the assurance that they stay within that safe. And so when you are then under attack, the likelihood that somebody is going to get to this data is minimized, because we try as all together to make sure that the technology is implemented properly, that it has the necessary resiliency. And as I said earlier, we do this so long that we know that there had been issues and we addressed them. So now we are making the safe even better, like a premium safe kind of saying, right? Where you store all your most important belongings into. And I think that is what really drives the adoption over time. And we know this is not something that happens overnight. We need to enable the industry from Intel's point of view, through the help of partners like SUSE, to offer these type of systems in the market. Like I said earlier, you can go to Google and Azure or buy a server from your preferred OEM that delivers these capabilities. But it's not a de facto standard like with other security technologies we have. But it will be. It's a matter of time, and it takes maybe another couple of years until we get there. But then it is going to be a technology everybody is going to use or take it as a given, if you want to use that term, to build this additional really strong assurance for the day when you are under attack. And it will reduce the time to get back in operation, because that's what an enterprise, a CFO or a CIO will be most interested in is, okay, I had been attacked, how quickly I can recover. And that time to recovery is what is going to be counted in dollars at the end of the day. So if you cut this down because you use confidential computing as part of your zero trust strategy, then you will reduce the costs of the breach or of the attack to a smaller amount, basically, right? How much is depending on how good your insurance is at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think based on what my colleagues here just said, right? Security is like imperative for any enterprise nowadays, right? For me, what makes the SAP customers sitting another level is that we are really talking about a category of application that generates 84% of the global commerce, right? And if we imagine the scale of such operation and any misstep, any kind of attack does not only represent really a severe financial loss, but we're really talking about severe damage in our society, right? Mm-hmm. And that's where it comes our responsibility in that business, right? So to bring technologies like confidential computing to allow customers to take the flexibility and the advantage of platforms like the cloud, while still being able to keep all this secure. And for me, this is like the real game changer of such a technology.
Yeah, I'd like to, I guess, make a call to action to customers, to our joint customers, to visit SUSE.com. We've got information there on zero trust, on confidential computing implementations, and look at putting together a proof of concept. Work with our teams. We've got teams in the field that collaborate between Intel and SUSE and SAP in implementing this level of security. And so it's a call to action to you guys to come visit us, talk to us in the conferences and online, and we'll get something set up and get you going.
Thank you to all three of you for joining me here today. I hope you enjoy your SAP Sapphire and ASUG annual conference, and looking forward to speaking again soon.
Thank you, Isaac.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks.